Could we be staring down the barrel of a 30-team college football playoff? What's up, everybody? My name's Matt Moscona. I'm the host of After Further Review on ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge, also the Locked On LSU podcast. I'm the publisher over at LouisianaSports.net. Well, Eli Drinkwitz over at SEC Football Media Days this past week in Atlanta, Georgia, where we broadcasted live from what they call Digital Drive, formerly Radio Row, made a plea for an expanded college football playoff, but not just from 12 to 16. He has a much bigger number in mind.
But if we did the 12, okay, and you had 4 automatic qualifiers, everybody thinks that's limiting. It's not limiting if you think about it from, you take those 4 automatic qualifiers and you divide that up into 8 opportunities of 8 play-in games. So now you're taking the SEC's playing in for 8, you're taking the Big Ten's playing in for 8. Since we've expanded the bubble to 16, give 3 to the 3 to the Big 12, 3 to the ACC, 1. Now you've got 30 teams. 30 teams. Now we're talking about an opportunity for 30 teams, 30 fan bases to be excited and engaged in giving revenue. Got 30 teams with players who have access to compete for a championship. And so for me, I think that makes a lot more sense.
You know, I don't know that his math was 100% right, but Eli Drinkwitz and I do see eye to eye. Now, I may not have a lot of common with Eli Drinkwitz. He was born in a small town in Arkansas. His name is Elia. He makes $9 million a year. He's got good hair. I'm a bald dude who lives in Louisiana. I do okay, but I'm making $9 million a year. But I do agree with Eli Drinkwitz on an expanded college football playoff, and I'm not just talking from 12 to 16. And I want to see a world where the college football playoff is actually something that is indicative and representative of the sport that we all love. The bottom line is, forever, for as long as college football has existed, college football's postseason has been bastardized. College football's postseason has gone to the highest bidder. Think of it this way. You watch every other sport in college athletics: baseball, softball, soccer, gymnastics, name it. When a team wins a national championship, they get that wooden national championship trophy, right? College football, major college football, does not have one because the NCAA does not crown a college football national champion. The powers that be in college football, the conferences vis-a-vis the schools, or the schools vis-a-vis the conferences, have outsourced their championship now to the college football playoff, prior to the bowl championship series. And for years, it was just voted on. There was a bowl alliance, and then you let the Associated Press crown a champion because you wanted the bowls in place. Well, why do the bowls exist? Money. It's not for pageantry or tradition. It's for money. 100 years ago, schools realized I could go play a game and make money. And so Alabama got on a train and went out to Pasadena and played in the Rose Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl came along, and so on and so forth. For years, the bowls didn't even count in statistic. There was no real postseason in college football. And I get so animated about this topic because I love college football, as I'm guessing do you by the nature of the fact that you clicked on this video and you're watching. But college football is quite literally the only sport in the history of mankind. Go back to ancient Rome. Go back to the Greeks. Go back to Rome when they're wrestling naked in the Colosseum. Back, when the year of our Lord started in single digits. And the bottom line is, from the history of mankind in every sport that has ever existed, college football is the only sport ever where you can win every single game you play and not even have an opportunity to play for a championship. It is a fundamental absurdity that you can play a schedule, win all of your games, and not even have a chance to play for a championship. Florida State 2 years ago goes undefeated. They don't get a chance because a bunch of self-important dopes in a hotel ballroom in suburban Dallas decide, we think because their quarterbacks they're not any good, so we're going to forget the 13 games that they've won and not even give them an opportunity to go play for a championship. In what reality does that make sense? Auburn in 2004. Go on down the list. There's too many of them. Georgia a couple of years ago, back-to-back defending national champion. They're undefeated in the regular season. They go to Atlanta, play in the SEC championship game, lose, And now they don't even get a chance to play for a title. And you could say, well, they got to win that game. Okay, if that's going to be your argument, then we have to start considering, what does a strength of record or strength of schedule mean? Because if it's only about what your record is, then where's the incentive to play tough games? I present to you Indiana. The Indiana Hoosiers in 2024 made the college football playoff. They were 11-1. Indiana made the college football playoff with an 11-1 record despite having the 35th strength of schedule. Their strength of schedule was 35 in America. Other teams that were vying for a playoff berth, when you look at the teams that were just on the outside looking in, you're talking about teams like Alabama, who was at 11, Ole Miss, who was at 14, South Carolina, who was at 15. These were teams that felt they deserved an opportunity to play in the playoff, but their record kept them out of it. Okay, well, let's look at some of these resumes then for those teams. Alabama's strength of schedule was 20. South Carolina was 21. We mentioned Ole Miss, maybe not a leg to stand on. Their strength of schedule was 37, lower than Indiana. But the point is, all of these conversations are stupid. Why are we having conversations about strength of schedule and strength of record and game control and defensive efficiency? Like, let's have a playoff so none of those things actually come into play. You know what you can use those things for? Seeding a field. And I know always what the counter argument is when I start on this. Well, Matt, if you expand to 32, then number 33 is going to be ticked off. If you expand to 16, then number 17 is going to be ticked off. I'll tell you this much. I am far less sympathetic toward team number 33 than I am team number 5, than I am team number 8, than I am team number 18, than I am team number 31. Whatever number it is, the further removed you get, the less of an argument you're going to have. But you cannot tell me, if you actually watched football with your own two eyes, that by the end of the season, teams like Ole Miss, teams like South Carolina wouldn't have been interesting watches in the college football playoff. So I understand where Eli Drinkwitz is coming from. A big part of his comment was rooted in the fact that blue bloods always get the benefit of the doubt, and a school like Missouri, which is inherently not a blue blood, is not going to get the benefit of the doubt in the college football playoff. Now, in the first year of the expanded playoff, we did see SMU, we did see Indiana get in. Those teams most certainly would never have been in a 4-team playoff. And access would have been limited because you wouldn't have even had a G5 opportunity. Now, and that's Boise State, who got in as the G5. My contention is, and has always been, just to be abundantly clear so there are no misgivings, I think the Power 5 or Power 4 should have its own championship. The Group of 5 should have its own playoff and its own championship. The FCS does have its own playoff, its own championship. It's no different than any other sport. Like, why do we need to? Like, why are college football fans so blind? I know what is motivating the leadership. The leadership is motivated by money. It's why we do what we do. Like, a college football conference championship game is nonsensical. It's pointless. There is no point at all. You play a regular season, you crown a regular season champion, you have a postseason. There's no need to have a conference championship game. Georgia, it cost Georgia a shot at a national championship 2 years ago, having that conference championship game. And there have been teams that played in that game and it's got them into a postseason. Good for you. The point is, it's unnecessary. It is a money grab. In 1992, Roy Kramer did a brilliant thing where he realized he could create more TV inventory, another revenue opportunity, and it's grown massive, and every conference subsequent has followed suit. But it's unnecessary. It's like a conference baseball tournament or a conference basketball tournament. Why do you play in college baseball a 30-game SEC regular season schedule and then determine who gets in the postseason by a single elimination tournament in Hoover? It's stupid. Let the 30-game sample stand on its own. Same thing with college football. You don't need the conference championship game, but it's a money grab. It's all to say, I understand where the leadership is coming from. The leadership is thinking, how do we make more money? And how they feel like they can make more money is by guaranteeing themselves spots in this modified playoff. Because if you expand a playoff, then all of a sudden you're not guaranteed access. It becomes a total meritocracy. You're not guaranteed your team's advancing. And then lesser conferences are worried about being left out. But from Eli Drinkwitz's standpoint, the way he's presenting it is understanding Missouri's never going to get the benefit of the doubt. If you have a 30-team playoff that's actually based on a true meritocracy, he'll get in. But back to the college football fans as a whole that look at the system and say, why would we want to expand a playoff? We have the best regular season. No, you don't. You do not have the best regular season. You have the most meaningless regular season in sports because you can win all your games and not even get an opportunity. Like, we see this in high schools. High schools play a regular season, and then you have a Class 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A championship. Why should it be any different in college football, major college football? In combat sports, you have weight classes. Why? Because you don't want to have a 240-pound heavyweight going against a 170-pound welterweight. Like, there's a reason we have weight classes, and so too should it be in college football. But why won't the G5 back out? Because they realize they're not going to have as much of a lucrative opportunity creating their own playoff as they would trying to piggyback on the big boys playoff. And why does the G5 or the Power 5 or Power 4 allow this? Because they get the rental wins, the 2 gate or 3 gate receipts every year, and more inventory that are guaranteed wins. And it's stupid. You know who takes it up the rear? Fans take it up the rear because we're force-fed these awful games nobody wants to see. I'm going to watch LSU play Clemson in the opener, and they're going to come home and then play Louisiana Tech. And a couple weeks later, they're going to play Southeastern Louisiana and win by 175. You know who's fired? You know who's rolling out of bed today going, man, countdown is on. Cannot wait for that LSU Southeastern Louisiana game. Nobody. But the problem is no school, no team, no athletic department is going to be the first one to take that leap and say, you know what, I'm only scheduling Power 5s. That's it. Or Power 4s. What we have to have in college football collectively is uniformity, where the Power 4 says we're only playing each other. We're never playing G5s or FCS schools again. It's going to be games people want to see. And you know what? If you lose, that's okay. It happens. I'm not saying it's okay to lose, but that's something that's going to happen in sports. But you're still going to have an opportunity to get into the postseason because we're going to actually have a representative postseason that encourages you to play tough opponents because you can have a power system that will seed your postseason. So even if you go 8-4, 9-3, but you play a really tough schedule, you're going to be rewarded for playing that tough schedule. You have access to a postseason and you're allowed to improve over the course of the season. So look, I don't have much in common with Eli Drinkwitz. I'm tall. He's not. I'm kind of stocky. He's not. He's got hair. I don't. He makes $9 million a year. I don't. His name is Elijah. My name is Matt. He's from Arkansas. I'm from Louisiana. But we agree on this. We agree on an expanded playoff that is actually merit-based and representative and not beholden to the whims of the self-important dopes in a hotel ballroom in suburban Dallas based on things like game control. Give me an actual playoff like we have in every other sport in the history of mankind so the sport we all love can actually crown a real, true champion. And fans are no longer force-fed awful games we don't want to see. Please let it happen.